What's going on? My name is Brian. I am from Broward County, Miramar, Florida. That's in South Florida. Um, I was raised by both of my parents. They were fresh from Nigeria. Um, so pretty much I would say for the most part I had pretty good parenting. But I was just heavily influenced by the culture around me. Pretty much just saturated in a hip hop culture. So like I'm just raised around people whose priorities were getting money, talking to multiple women, dressing nice, drugs, things like that. So just growing up, you're not really home too often. Well, I wasn't home too often, so I just was really under the influence of the culture around me. So I just began to pretty much do what everybody else was doing. The only influence that I would say that I would have that was anything towards godly was my mom. She was pretty serious about her faith. She was a believer in Jesus Christ. She was pretty serious about her faith. So I would see her like serve the homeless. She would force us to pray a lot of times. But I never really had any foundation into it, and I really never understood any type of biblical principles, and I didn't grow up being forced to go to church. So I was never really grounded in my faith. I kind of just believed that all gods were the same, or God was the same, but just had different names depending on like where you lived. So pretty much a huge turning point for me. 16, I moved to Jacksonville, and then at that age, I had to watch the only person that I had like some sort of an example of what it was to be a Christian, my mom. I watched her die from colon cancer. So just to see the process and the toll that took on her, and to watch her die after having multiple people come by and pray and speak healing to her and like laying hands and all that, and she still died. So like at that point I really like gave up my faith. I didn't really have true faith prior, but at that point I was like, there's no possible way that God exists, because my mom was doing all these good things and yet she still died to cancer. So at about 16, we were in Jacksonville at that time, Duval, and at that time I know I just started to go south. Like I just started to hang around like people who were totally not a good influence for me, just really hanging around people who were like doing the wrong things, and they didn't have proper influences in their lives like I did. I had actual brothers and sisters and a father still around. So I just started hanging out with a lot of people like that, doing drugs, promiscuous with women, just doing a lot of things that were very, very ungodly. And I would say nothing changed until I was about 20 years old. This was, I actually remember the date, because for me it was a pivotal night that happened where I had an encounter with God. It was actually August 1st, 2011. I remember the exact date. I was coming from my friend's house, and this is gonna sound crazy. I was coming from my friend's house and I was actually high, and I came home, and while I was in the shower, I just felt the urge. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna read my Bible. And it was weird, like I didn't read my Bible, but I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna read my Bible. And I got out the shower. When I got out the shower, I went onto Facebook, and at that time I had like thousands of friends on Facebook. So I'm just scrolling through my timeline, and I'm looking at pictures and whatnot, and then Facebook led to looking at pornography. And then out of nowhere, it's gonna sound crazy because it's hard to kind of explain the supernatural, but out of nowhere I just felt like the conviction of everything that I was doing with my life, as far as education, my lifestyle. Like I just felt the conviction of all of it hit me all at once. And I never experienced such a heavy conviction before. Now today I know that was God coming to me. So I kind of just like I remember yelling at myself, no, I'm not gonna do this. And I like I turned the computer off, and then I was like laying in my bed. And then I remember I just started crying, and I didn't really understand what was happening, and I didn't really understand the power that I was feeling at that time. I was just really scared. So I called one of my friends, or one of my brother's friends, who I knew was a Christian, who I had his number in my phone, but I just knew he was a Christian from like Facebook. So I called him, and he just kind of just told me like, God accepts you, just the way you are. He was just telling me that God accepts me just the way I am. I don't have to be perfect. And he was just telling me that God loves me, God loves me. And even as he was telling me these things, I just kept crying. It was really uncontrollable. I don't understand. I couldn't stop myself from crying. That was August 1st, 2011. I remember that I ended up going to sleep. To make a long story short, I ended up going to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and I felt like a new I felt like a new man. Like I felt totally different. Like, and I'm not even like trying to beef it up or anything. My friends were telling me I was glowing, and I was like unashamed. I was telling everybody, yo, I had an encounter with God. I know Jesus, now I'm saved, and all this kind of stuff. And you know, my friends were just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And again, that was about 4 years ago, and to this day, now I'm still living with that same passion, that same zeal. So I know it's real, and I know it's God. So I'm just thankful to be where I'm at right now. God has called me out of like the lifestyle I was living, which when I look back now, I know that lifestyle was heading towards a very, very bad direction, and in the end was going to leave me just dead and alone. So I'm just very grateful for what God has done for me, and I'm glad to be here today, and it's all because of the grace of God. So.